I want to discuss the oral tradition. I want to discuss a little bit about deconstruction, at least how I'm using the term. And I thought we would begin by having Jennifer read her comment.
I was realizing that I was having trouble with the idea of authority initially, because I was thinking of people you have to obey. And so I compared it to a police officer, particularly if he has a gun, but I was also thinking of the head of a school, or the Pope, or somebody who could kick you out if you're not complying or something like that. And then I was thinking that when I think of authority as knowledge, then the whole question of whether it's text or voice starts to make sense. And then I was realizing that I guess I've been around this conversation enough to have questions about the text be working, given that it has a particular time and place, recognizing that I had a sort of longing for something to really be right, to know what it was. And then I had my doubts about something like an oral tradition, particularly we were talking about things perhaps de-evolving.
There is authority that is obvious, as you mentioned, the policeman or the robber standing over you with the gun. He certainly has the authority to demand from you whatever he wants. The schoolmaster, there are obvious authorities, but then on the other hand there's less obvious authorities. And knowledge per se is a little bit abstract how we're using it. So knowledge itself, you can't really say has that kind of authority. Somebody might have authority for a certain kind of knowledge, and that is more what I'm getting at. For example, there may be people who are very much into natural healing and or whatever. But my experience is that, God forbid, should they come down with a serious disease, cancer or something like this, immediately most of those people go straight to the best cancer clinic or best cancer doctor that they can find. And this is what I call authority, that in that sense the Western medicine has the authority over, let's say, natural healing or alternative medicine for many people, if not most people. And so even though people may profess a belief in natural medicine, when it comes down to the testing of who really has the authority, then the authority turns out to be not what they had claimed. So does this make a little sense to you, Jennifer?
Yes.
Okay, because this is the direction that that I want to go with authority. Now, obviously, part of branding and marketing is about establishing some authority, and not just in sort of big-time branding and marketing, Coca-Cola and Sony and Honda and so forth, but take the yoga industry. The authority is established in terms of who's one's teacher was, how many years they've been teaching or practicing, what their accomplishments might be. And in this sense, people use their authority to build their brand, as it were. So authority is something that we're continuously dealing with. When somebody says something, to the authority to really say that. In other words, can they take responsibility for saying that?
You know, I'm just going to interrupt you. Kailash, I think that your mic might be on. You might not be muted, or somebody. Okay.
We're talking about authority. We're talking about the way that I'm using the word deconstruction. And so I'm encouraging all of you to participate and make this a conversation. I would really like to know what's on all of your minds. And it's a very selfish desire because as a storyteller, as I was saying, the most important thing is to know one's audience. So I want to use this to get to know my audience and how you're looking at some of these things that we're talking about. So I'd like to keep this in sort of conversation mode, as it were.
It seems like you're saying that using the physician example. Let me put my headphones on so I don't get feedback. It seems as though you're suggesting that when the chips are down, when the stakes are high, the go-to source for practical solutions is the person who has entitlement to speak. That is, they have authority by virtue of the fact that they can deliver the goods. Is that approximately what you're saying?
In a sense. The example that I used of somebody being desperately ill is meant to really make a contrast, show the black and white of the situation, taken extreme so we can see it the most clearly. I'm not saying that when the chips are down, then you go to so or such and such. Because there's also some people that when the chips are down, they go to a natural healer or a faith healer or use Chinese medicine or Ayurveda. That's not really the point. The point is I'm looking for tests, ways that we can test a situation for its authority. Does it have authority for us? For example, if we have a discussion about the meaning of a word, then somebody takes out the dictionary and looks up the word in the dictionary and says it means such and such, and we tend to accept that because for us the dictionary is an authority. So
are you then suggesting that you're going to be highlighting one particular source of authority, and that is the oral tradition in which you stand?
No. Absolutely not. What I'm doing is I'm introducing the word, the concept of authority, so that when we use this word, that we're all on the same page. We know what we're talking about. I could see, for example, that I use this word continuously for years. And so I tend to assume that that people listening to me know what I'm talking about, that they know how I'm using this term, and in reality that's not the case. I could see, for example, from Jennifer's comments that she really wasn't on the same page as I am. In how I'm using the word. I'm not trying to define a word here. I'm trying to establish a playing field where we know where the boundaries are and we can participate and play the same game at the same time.
Okay.